Hey, today the Arrowhead team just dropped news about the Democracy Space Station. There's going to be improvements to the voting system, more tactical actions. They also brought up the Planetary Bombardment, and so much more. I'll be discussing a lot more than just that. If you'd like to support the channel, please hit the like button below at any point, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We are going to start off with the Democracy Space Station news. As you all know, it wasn't well received when it first launched, and now it seems that the Arrowhead developers plan to change a few things around, and it's going to be quite exciting. First off, what we have is a post created by the community manager Baskinator. We can see at the top it says, the Democracy Space Station User Manual. Then towards the very bottom is the most important part about the space station. Right here, Baskinator stated this: what are our future plans for the DSS? The mod will continue to add to the Democracy Space Station over the life of Helldivers 2, including changes how some elements of the DSS function, as well as adding new elements and abilities to it. The intentions of these changes are to increase players' agencies and their control of the DSS to make it even more impactful to the galactic war effort. Okay, before we continue forward with this post, so far we can see they're planning on introducing new features for the Democracy Space Station that should be useful for us on the battlefield. I'm personally looking forward to an orbital laser tactical action of some sort that sends down multiple lasers on a planet that can decimate fabricators and larger enemies like the factory striders. I think that would be an amazing tactical action. I'm a big fan of the Eagle Storm so far, and I'd love to see the lasers next. Speaking of tactical actions, the Planetary Bombardment is currently being worked on by the developers. In the next paragraph, we can see a bulletin point where Baskinator wrote, some of the changes we're considering now are for the Planetary Bombardment action. We are aiming to increase the precision and effectiveness of its orbital targeting systems. We are also investigating innovative ways to provide Helldivers with advanced warnings of imminent impacts through the use of the minimap and visual indicators. That right there is awesome to see. I believe the Planetary Bombardment can be quite effective in the future if they give it the same type of precision, just like the Eagle Storm. Unfortunately, what we have right now is not useful at all. As you all know, the Planetary Bombardment will randomly shoot missiles down at just random parts of the map. If they made it just as precise as the Eagle Storm, then we should see it target fabricators, hive nests, larger enemies, and even basic enemies. Then I think at that point, it would be satisfying enough for me. And I'm looking forward to that if, and only if, that's Arrowhead's plan. Not only that, I'm also happy to see that they're going to give us visual warnings not only on the map, but on the battlefield to show us where the Planetary Bombardment is going to land. So far, it seems like Arrowhead has a solid plan for that specific tactical action, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. Let me know what you all think about this so far in the comments below. Alrighty, the next bulletin point is about the voting system, and I have to say it's going to make the Democracy Space Station 10 times more useful. What they're planning on doing is adding a vote to stay option, meaning we can have the Democracy Space Station stay at a specific planet instead of it being moved to a different spot each time. With that said, we can see the community manager said this in the post. Improvements to the voting system, such as a clearer and more concise vote to stay option pinned to the top of the menu, and potentially increasing the number of votes available, providing ways of democratically earning new votes, and ways to influence DSS movement functions. Yep, that right there is another great improvement. There have been times where we've had the Democracy Space Station move to a different spot when it shouldn't have, and it ended up costing us in the end. In theory, the vote to stay option should make it easier for us to liberate planets and stop attacks from happening. Now, I say in theory because you never really know how it's going to perform until it's actually here and we see how everything works. But on paper, it sounds as if it will help out a lot with future major orders. I'm happy about this change and can't wait to see how it works in game and if we're all on the same page when it comes down to voting. Continuing along, the third bulletin point is about passive effects. They're going to make it so that the passive effects stay on a planet even when the tactical action is not active. We can see the proof here, and Baskinator had this to say in her post. Adding passive effects that will affect the current planet even when a tactical action is not active. I love this change as well. The problem as of right now that once the tactical action is inactive, we do not get to benefit from the passives. For instance, the Eagle Storm has an amazing tactical action, but the passive for it is even better since it assists with planets that require defending. Now, once this patch does go live, whenever it is, we should be able to liberate and defend planets more effectively. Okay, lastly, you know how I brought up lasers at the beginning of the video, right? Well, it looks like we might be receiving something laser related and possibly can be controlled. The final bulletin point can be seen here, and it says, adding more tactical actions to the DSS that will enhance the community-controlled space laser fantasy with even more impressive destructive power at the planetary scale. Incredible. If Arrowhead actually gives us a Democracy Space Station stratagem that can be thrown down, that's going to be intense, especially if it has to do with lasers. I think this could be one of the most exciting changes, and I'm excited to see it in action. I'd love to see a barrage of lasers, essentially just a bunch of lasers swiping across the battlefield, wiping out bases and factory striders and all that good stuff. I can just imagine it already, and hopefully it's something crazy like that. Now, with the bulletin points aside, it looks like the Arrowhead team plan to continue to evolve and change the Democracy Space Station over time, which is great to see. The proof can be seen here, and Baskinator finished her post by stating this at the end. We hope this provides clarity on various aspects of the Democracy Space Station, how to make the most of it, and the vision we have for the future as it continues to evolve. What I personally would like to see in the future, not sure how many of you can agree with me on this, I want a social hub where we can interact with a bunch of players and new NPCs to talk to. Not only this, it would also be cool to see a weapon test simulator, essentially where we could test out all of our weapons in the Democracy Space Station in some sort of simulation box. This way I can test out weapons more efficiently, and I believe it would be a great way to do it. Also, a clan system would be really cool to see at some point down the road as well, if they plan to do that still. Anyways, as you can tell, I have a bunch of ideas for the DSS. Now, what I want to know is, what are your ideas? What features would you like to see with the Democracy Space Station? Let me know your overall thoughts about the community manager's post and what you would like to see in the future. Moving along, we have to talk about the Helldivers 2 SteamDB branches. It's getting kind of strange now. What I mean by that is, there's a new branch that was added called Pineapple Soup is Delicious. Yeah, I've got no idea what that's about, and if I had to guess, I'm assuming it's something important, but perhaps they don't want to let us know what's going on. If you can recall from one of my previous videos, I brought up a branch that was added about the Illuminates, as you can see here. Maybe Arrowhead has learned since then to not label their branches based on the content they plan to reveal. This is my guess anyways. Also, there was another branch I believe that was added recently. I do not recall seeing this branch, but it's called Use This to Go Live. I've got no clue as to what this is either. Hopefully it's a live event that we can see in game, similar to the Meridia Black Hole live event that happened a couple of months ago. Nonetheless, I thought this information was interesting enough to share, and I wonder what the Arrowhead team has got up their sleeves in terms of content. Next up, we're going to talk about the community managers. I know a lot of players in the community were a little bit disappointed in Twimber's departure from the studio, to a point where players were questioning how good the communication will really be going forward. And some were wondering, what do the other community managers do at Arrowhead Game Studios? Well, it seems that they all have their own important roles. For instance, Baskinator responded to a player and said this: Alethian is our player support lead, so he manages our Zendesk and support teams. Cyber Samurai is our social media manager. Mitchimus is here, but he's getting his feet wet with Discord, since it's not normally his arena. Well, as you can see, they all have their own specific roles. Now, Mitchimus specifically could be the next person to communicate with players, often on the official Helldivers 2 Discord moving forward. So, if that's true, I think Mitchimus will do an incredible job. I've seen him communicate in the past with players, and it'll be interesting to see him communicate more down the road. Now, with the information provided, I wouldn't worry too much about Arrowhead's comms. I know a lot of people were afraid that the communication would stop or would be worse, and I don't believe that's going to be the case. And yeah, sure, it is sad to see Twinbird move on. However, it's good to see that Arrowhead will continue to communicate going forward, so everything should be good. Now, on a different note, the Arrowhead team are already aware of the bug with the supply packs and guard dogs when activating a stratagem, specifically if the stratagem has a combination where you have to press downwards. We can see a player here on the Helldivers 2 Discord tag the support team member B-Vitamin about this particular bug, and B-Vitamin's response can be seen here. She replied back with, "We're already aware of this one, no need for another report." Yep, so the bug is back. However, you should expect a fix for this specific bug, maybe in the next patch or in a future hotfix. I thought I'd let you all know about this just in case you had experienced it recently and were wondering what's going on with it. Now, with that in mind, there's a workaround for it if you didn't know already. The support team members wrote this on the known issue list at the very bottom and said, "Stratagems that end with a down arrow will unintentionally activate backpack functions. There is a workaround for this issue by changing backpack functions from tap to double tap in the controller settings." So I'll show you where you can find that setting if it's not obvious enough from the workaround post here. What you'll do is go to settings by pausing the game, go to the third tab where it says options, go all the way down and click on the controller text. Next, we wanted to change bindings. At this point, you'll want to go to the second tab where it says combat. Go all the way down until you see backpack functions. We want to change this from tap to double tap. Now you should be good to go, and when you use your backpack in game, you'll have to double tap downwards to activate it. Hope this helps out a lot, and if it does, tap the like button below and comment to let me know. Next up, quickly, I'd like to bring up the next topic. It looks like the Arrowhead developers have won yet another award. They won 3 awards from the Independent Game Developers Association. We can see a post here from the studio director and founder of Arrowhead Game Studios. She created this post, and you can see she stated that they won Best Technical Innovation, Best Visual Design, and Game of the Year. That's amazing. They've won a lot of awards thus far, and it'll be interesting to see if they win any more, considering the Game Awards will be announcing their winners eventually, and it'll be exciting to see if they win another award or not. Continuing forward, we have a date in my image that we'll be going over together. What I suggest you do right now is head to the description below and choose a different timestamp if you don't want anything being spoiled or ruined early. With that warning aside, what we have today is a post created by Ironsights that revealed a new planet biome, and he also left a message in the post by stating, generation parameters, lava offset, lava temperatures, lava contrast, and last but not least, sandy magma. It'll be crazy to see an actual biome with lava on the ground and how the temperatures could possibly play a role in the next biome. Now, I do want to say that I'm excited about it, but at the same time, I don't want to hype this up because in reality, this right here could be a scrapped idea unless, Arrowhead goes through with it fully. So just throwing that out there to let you know it could happen or it might not. Last but not least, for today's video, I want to show you a neat little trick you can do with the Hellbomb. You might already know about this, but for those that don't, here's how it works. What you'll do is head over to a Shrieker's Nest if you're on a bug planet, or a Gunship Fabricator if you're on a bug planet. Whichever one you're on, you'll want to go up to it until you get the Hellbomb Stratagem at the top left. Then at this point, you'll enter the combination for it and hold on to the Stratagem. You can then run to a different part of the map and throw it down. For instance, if you want to carry this all the way to a different part of the map, or if you want to plug a bunch of bug holes or destroy fabricators, you can do so by throwing it down and activating it right afterwards. It's an incredibly useful trick that can be helpful, or if you just want to have fun with it. Okay, we are now going to talk about your suggested loadouts from the previous video. If you've already posted a comment in another video, then do it again in this video, and I might select it either based on upvotes, or I'll choose it by random by using an app. Okay, that being said, we have a loadout from a player named 10-Star Fleet Admiral that suggested the Strike Phantom loadout. Now, he recommended this specifically for bugs, but I wanted to test it out on bots to see if it's good to use on both, and surprisingly, it is. We are using the newest Reprimand SMG for shielded enemies like the Shielded Devastators, Rocket Striders, and basically any armored enemy type. The secondary is the Grenade Pistol, which I prefer to use on Fabricators or enemies in groups. We've got a Gas Grenade for confusing enemies and applying damage with our weapons or stratagem. Speaking of stratagems, we are using the Orbital Napalm Barrage because it's quite effective on bots and not just for bugs, and it's very useful for crowd control. The second stratagem is the Eagle Strafing Run for groups of bots. The third is Rocket Sentry that can take out Hulks easily, basic enemies, Devastators, and so much more. The last stratagem is the one and only Recoilless Rifle for Fabricators, Hulks, and just so many different types of enemies. Overall, I know this wasn't meant for bugs, but it's insane on both bots and bugs. So with that, 5 out of 5 general Brasch stars. Alright, with the information aside, we are now going to check out the top 3 comments from the last Helldivers 2 video. If you guys would like to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below, and if it gets enough upvotes, you might just be featured. The first top comment is from Kasnip's Adventures. If communication was bad, it's going to be worse now that the most responsive community manager is leaving. Yeah, I have no idea if it's going to be good or bad, but as of right now, it does look like there's going to be some sort of communication, but just not as much as, Twinbeard provided. The second comment is by Proto52. Twinbeard leaving is going to put a magnifying glass on how bad the other community managers really are if it hasn't already. Okay, this is a great comment right here because we know as of right now, the community managers have different rules. Each one, manages different things. One does social media, one does something else. So not everybody communicates, really. And last but not least, we have Tacitus Lynn. Twinbeard leaving is enough to make a grown person cry. Yep, it actually kind of hurt me a little bit. Maybe not to the point where I was crying, but I was definitely a little bit upset. I was like, come on, the best community manager is now leaving, and now, what are we gonna do? But life moves on, right? These are the top 3 comments from the previous video, and I just want to say thank you guys, by the way. Thank you guys so much for subscribing, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe, turn on notifications. This way you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. Plus, if you subscribe right now, you'll save a bunch of super citizens from being probed by the Illuminate. Right up the brown hole, the brown eye, the chocolate starfish, the rainbow fountain of chocolate. You know what I'm saying? The booty hole. Just save a bunch of people right now by subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video.